Welcome to Hong Kong Confidential. I'm Jules Hannaford and I'm your host. I'm an Australian woman and I've been living in Hong Kong for many years. I'm a mother, a teacher, an author, and I want to share my wisdom and the wisdom of others with you. Thanks for joining me and I hope you enjoy the show. Today I'm here at the Plus Group International with Neerja Sujanani and Deepa Nainani. Hi ladies, thank you so much for joining me today.
Hey.
Hello there, welcome to the office.
Thank you so much. So girls, I wonder if you can tell me a little bit about your background and your life.
Sure. I was born and brought up in Mumbai in India. Did 24 years there and I've done 21, so I guess I'm giving away my age. But I have done 21 years here. I'm a native Hong Kong person. And yes, we've got a couple of kids, obviously a husband and a business to run.
And Deepa?
I was born and brought up in Singapore. Marriage brought me to Hong Kong. So I've lived in Hong Kong for now 21 years. I am the proud mother of 2 boys. Yes, and I also have a husband. And I run a business along with Neerja.
So can you tell me a little bit about your business and how it evolved? Neerja?
So I used to run a company called Print Plus back in Bombay. I moved here and got a corporate job with the Economist Group and did that for 10 years, where I was head of production and distribution. And then decided one day that time was ripe. And at that point, I met Deepa.
So I was also in a multinational, a corporate job. I had worked for them for 11 years and I was looking for something new. And with 11 years of working experience, I told Neerja it's about time that we started something together. And she had the printing experience and I had operations and logistics experience. I had also, by that time, organized 2 to 3 fashion events called Diwali Bazaar in those days. So we got together and kind of amalgamated both our skills to start off Print Plus officially in Hong Kong.
So can you tell me a little bit about Print Plus and what do you do here?
Primarily when we started, it was mostly printing, designing, and as the universe evolved to being more digital, we had to move along with it and we went on to doing websites. And as I mentioned, I had organized fashion events, and because we had a pool of small and medium enterprises that had no shop front in Hong Kong, we started the Diwali Bazaars, which is a fashion event where we had, in the beginning, 10 to 15 exhibitors come in and we would market the event to a pool of shoppers and they'd come and have a good event. Basically, there were other bazaars as such in Hong Kong, but never catered to the Indian community. So we are the ones who actually started it way back 11 years ago. And with that, we also then evolved into bringing that part of the business to Print Plus, where we still do 2 fashion events in a year.
How fantastic. That sounds amazing.
They're now called Glamfest and Summer Sparkles.
And where do you hold them?
So Summer Sparkles happens in summer during the month of May and June, and we have hosted it at the Mira Hotel in Tsim Sha Tsui, and we recently moved it to Marco Polo Hong Kong Hotel, being closer to the ferry with accessible car park. So we've been growing and trying out different 5-star venues in Tsim Sha Tsui for Summer Sparkles.
And is your market for this event women, Indian women or all women, or is it just a mix of anybody?
Summer Sparkles, because of its nature, or being more jewelry and resort wear, tends to attract a lot more women. We get about 60% Southeast Asian women and 40% practically anyone else. We have a couple of wine vendors and service providers, so the men come along as well. The year-end event, which is held at Regal Kowloon Hotel, that attracts a lot more men. This time around, we actually had someone display household appliances. So we had washing machines and fridges and stuff. And, anything from insurance agents to service providers like VIP cards for restaurants and stuff, they all come along. And being a Saturday, it is. So a lot of men do come down. They order their wines. They talk to all the service providers. They talk to all these people. And it's a great time to market and network as well.
What a great concept.
Yeah, it's a good family day out, I think. The women have got their jewelry, their clothes, household. Everyone wants to buy something new pre-season, pre-festive season. So there is something for everyone.
So ladies, can you tell me what was your dream job as a child?
I was just telling my children this yesterday because my older one just finished his GCSEs and he was like, Mom, I don't know what to do. And I would have no focus and, oh my God, I'm a failure. And I'm like, no, when I was your age, I wanted to be a doctor one day, a lawyer the next day, an air hostess the day after. So I had various ambitions, but coming from a very traditional Indian family, my parents never supported it that way. But yeah, I think I really, at the end of it, wanted to be a lawyer, but it didn't happen.
Can you talk to me a little bit more about that not being supported because of tradition?
Yes, in my time, in my day, an Indian girl would have to be married off to a man and most of the time end up as a housewife. Perhaps just work for a while before the babies come in, but after the babies, it's always be home with the children, which obviously never happened with me, luckily. But because of that, there was always a fear in traditional Indian families that if you overeducate a girl, no men would marry her because she's too educated for him.
So what, too much of a threat?
Yes.
So was there no university for you?
For me, no. There was no university then. So she did not allow me to study further. But I got really lucky. The man I married was very understanding and he allowed me to complete my studies after I got married.
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
And I imagine that you wouldn't have the same beliefs and philosophies with your own children now?
No, not at all. And in fact, half of the things that we do, especially with Glamfest and Kalwan Bazaar, is to empower women because we want to provide this platform for women in business. It's not all about being home and stuff like that. They have to do what they have potential for.
And do you feel that that message is coming across?
Yes, it is.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And I feel strongly about it, and that's why it's coming across so clearly.
I think there's a lot of women out there who are successful that really do feel fantastic about it. So, Neerja, what about you? What was your dream job when you were a child?
So you won't believe this. I knew I would be in business. I knew I'd run a business. I just didn't know what. And when I started out doing print in Bombay, back in Bombay, and in those days, we did screen printing, which was the only that was the only reproductive method. So we did screen printing. We would get our fingernails dirty and we would actually have to, create a screen and do it the old way. Then there was offset, and then the offset, the plates were all made of tin and aluminum, and we would actually have to run it overnight. And we've been hurt by, these processes tons of times. And being a small business, I remember doing deliveries myself, which, it's pretty much all hands on deck when you start out. So we would carry, raw paper tied in those coir ropes. We would be carrying until you bled because you couldn't afford to give away profit margin to have deliveries. And starting from there, once you kind of have this confidence that I built it ground up, there's, print became my passion. And that's where it continued. So print, and then obviously designing, marketing, web. This is exactly where I think I want to be. I'm shocked. I'm living my dreams. It's fantastic.
Isn't that brilliant? And it's
amazing.
Something that you really wanted from a young age. That's really uncanny. I can't think of many young girls thinking, I want to go into print and I want to go, I know that I want to be a businesswoman. It's great.
You've got to see me when I touch or I feel a new piece of paper. I'll be trying to check on how much grammage there is. If there's fresh ink, I'll be, just the aroma of fresh ink. Or when I go to the press for a press check, I'm walking around with a magnifying glass. It's fabulous.
Passionate about print and paper and ink. It's awesome. It's really fabulous. So were your family the same as Deepa's, where you weren't encouraged to have an education or to go into business, or was it a bit different?
So it was kind of halfway house. I finished school. I went to university in Bombay, and I wanted to go to university overseas. At that point, they said, nah, you can't go to university overseas. You'll be too smart. Nobody's going to marry you. I thought, that's not fair. And that, I think, brings in a bigger passion, and you want to succeed even more. So what I would do is we had something called the Government Law College. So I was doing my university, but I would go 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. I'd go to Government Law College. And then from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. I'd go run the business.
Wow.
And that you just come out of it. You find a passion, just go for it.
And I imagine your parents are probably very proud of you.
Absolutely.
So what's the best and worst decision that you feel you've ever made and why?
You want the best, you want the worst? What do you want to take? Pick.
Give me the best first.
I'll give you the best.
Okay.
Starting this business with the best business partner in the world was the best decision I ever made.
How long ago was that?
It was actually 10 years ago.
And what was the worst decision you feel you've ever made in business?
No one thing comes to mind, but we have a great way of pivoting. And because it's a small company, you don't get bogged down. So if this is not working, you say, all right, okay, about turn, right angle. Let's go. Next. And you just keep creating. We also have the saying between us and in this company that it ain't over till it's over. And that indirectly means that you need your result, no matter how you get it. You will get to it by creating the path that you need to create to get to the end. So it ain't over till it's over.
And if you have to turn a few corners on the way, that's fine.
And we do
and
it
you keep
really
positive.
quickly. Really, yeah, we're on our toes.
Awesome. And Deepa, what about you? What's the best decision you've ever made?
Yes, I would say, I was going to say the same thing, is finding Neerja would be the best decision I've ever made.
Our listeners just need to know they're fist pumped just at the moment, at that very moment.
I think when we met, we first were friends, very good friends. And a lot of people, including our spouses, were very afraid that the friendship would be affected if we get into a business together. But I'm truly blessed, and we both are in that case, that we express ourselves, we are ourselves, and we are very comfortable with conflict. And a conflict doesn't mean the end of anything for us. So it was the best decision despite people discouraging us from it.
So are you able to separate business and the friendship?
Yes, at all times. Or actually, maybe even if it's together, we mix it all up and we're all fine with it.
So it just seems that you have such a good relationship that you can work through the difficult times and sort out the conflict and come to resolutions. Is that right?
Yes, and there's no compartmentalizing anything because actually our minds don't work that way, right?
Yeah.
So if I have a problem with her and I'm at work, I have the freedom to go to her and tell her I do, and she accepts me 100% with it. And if it's a work issue and if it's a Sunday, we have no issues talking about it. And our life revolves around our friendship and work. So it doesn't mean that we have a time for this and a time for that. All the time, it's good for everything.
It's also great when you kind of want to travel. Let's say we take a holiday and we know that that your friend, your partner is truly going to make decisions for the business. At that point, you can unplug in such a way that no other person can unplug because you're going, we know this person has got got your back, and B has got the business. So you just want to, I want to be grateful for that.
So you can trust them and you can head off and relax and have a good time and leave it in safe hands.
Absolutely.
Obviously, I think the message from what you're saying is that it's really important to communicate and to really listen and to be able to share your grievances. And I think that's something that many of us need to learn in our workplace, that when we're upset, we need to speak up and say how we're feeling in a really calm, measured, open, practical sort of way.
The ability to be yourself and being accepted for who you are. It's a very big thing.
It is a big thing, isn't it? Yeah. Unfortunately, for some of us, it takes a long time to get to that. But it's great if we can make it there. And hopefully the listeners will be inspired by what you're saying to really think about that and move forward in that direction. So your worst decision you've ever made, Deepa?
Every day there's something or the other that happens and you fight through battles at work. But we're very resilient. We don't remember any of this. We come back stronger and better.
What do you think is the most significant challenge that women in leadership face?
It's getting better now, but in the beginning, we were not taken seriously. And if we were even slightly more confident than the world expects us to be, we were almost demeaned and belittled, almost like to a level of what does she think she is? That's not nice, but it used to happen a lot. But now I think it's changing, and it's changing really quickly.
Why do you think it's changing?
Because women have proven themselves. They've come across good leaders. I won't say better, because that's not the right thing to say, but they've come out as good leaders. They've proven themselves to be able to work hand in hand with men, being partners with them to achieve goals together. So because we've proven ourselves, I think men have started to respect that. And everyone has started to respect that. In the olden days, women used to not respect other women themselves, not only men. And now that's changing too.
Do you have anything to add to that? The challenges that women face in leadership?
I feel we need more women mentors. There is no one person that we can collectively go and say, right, you're at the next step. What's next for us? So give us your vision. How do you do this? What's your look into this? Look into a crystal ball. What are your predictions on tech? What are your predictions on this, on that? What's the way forward? There's no association, collaboration, umbrella. There's nowhere to turn if you want to just look up a little bit or get mentored. I think that needs to change, and I think that will change because we're hearing it everywhere. So even working women, even at a support level, forget about a mentorship level. I think even at a support level, we just need to take our arms out and say, okay, let's do this together.
Yeah, I think sometimes women have more insecurities with other women, and that's sad at a work environment and in a home environment too. That insecurity needs to go.
That is going to fade fast. I think that's the next era.
Do you look for opportunities to mentor young women in business?
At the moment, I feel because we're working so hard to establish ourselves, we've come really far. But it gives us no time. But given the opportunity and more time on hand as we grow, I think that would be something we both would love to do.
We take on interns every year. We take on close to a dozen interns every year. That young men and women can actually emulate what we do, see how it works in the real world, report into the office, do it on time, give them a variety of tasks. Let them grow over, let's say, the summer. We've had journalists, we've had business interns, we've had marketing interns. And I think we all learn from each other because they're in this new digital age. And we've got a product, resources, brands that they can promote as well. I think that's really cool when you see, at the beginning of a summer, someone who comes in absolutely raw, and then the two of us look at each other and think, oh my God, look at this person. And it's just amazing. You feel so good that you could have contributed even that tiny little way. And I think it's an experience that they won't forget as well.
So 12 a year, that's a lot.
At least,
yeah.
I think. At least.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
So which woman in the world of business inspires you and why?
I really like the CEO of Pepsi, Nainani.
Nainani.
Oh, she's amazing. She's one woman that has balanced her family life and work life really well. And that's admirable because a lot of times people think if women are career-centric, their home gets affected, which is not true. She's maintained both of them. And her views are very, very good, very inspiring for other women.
Neerja?
So my search is on, and I'd like to be able to find a Hong Kong hero because, in this geographical environment, in economical environment, if there is someone who has reached that level, that would be my idol. I'm still in
So you're still looking.
hot pursuit.
Fantastic. Keep looking because I'm sure there's someone out there. What do you think the biggest challenge for the generation of women behind you will be?
Scaling. The economy is just sluggish. It was hard already for us, and it's because it's so saturated and everything's changing so quickly. And it's become so easy for everyone to get into business. To scale in a business is going to be very, very hard.
Can you explain to me what you mean by scaling?
To be able to grow in business. Because starting a business is very easy. Anyone can start a business. It's becoming easier.
You need like a laptop and a desk and you're done.
Yeah. But to be able to grow that business is going to be very, very hard because everyone is so successful. It's very, for anybody to start a business, like you say, a room, a table, a laptop, you can start a business. But how are you going to grow the business? That's going to be tougher and tougher for them.
Yeah, because finding a revenue model is going to be extremely difficult. In times like this, I always say, where's good old-fashioned business as such, where we used to buy something, add value, and then sell something? It is so easy for angel investors and other funding to come through. It's super easy to burn through someone else's money, which is what the world is doing at the moment. And I think the next generation has to deal with that as well, because at some point, either the bubble's going to burst or the funding is going to dry up. And at that point, you got to say, what am I left with? How much value did I actually add? Because that's the only value that's going to be left.
Do you think there's a rule of thumb that a business has to run at a loss for a year or two after it starts?
No such thing. It depends how you start. I don't think we never ran at a loss. Again, depends on how you start. If you start with a huge expense, where you give out a lot of funds based on premises and overheads, then you would have to take time to break even. But if you start very carefully and very calculatively and reduce overheads, you don't need to go by that at all.
And would you say when you started your business, you lived and breathed the business and that you worked very, very long hours?
Yes, definitely.
Yes, long. And we would be the backup plan. We were the business, we were the backup plan.
Right.
So if something didn't reach somewhere, get into the car, no matter what time it is, get out there, get it there. At the end of the day, a happy customer is God.
And you were doing all of the roles in the business yourselves?
Yes, like if the AC didn't work, it's our fault. We were the IT people and the human resources and payroll.
You're listening to Hong Kong Confidential. a podcast where Hong Kong people share their insights, experiences, and wisdom with us. I'm talking to Deepa and Neerja from Plus Group International, and they're going to share with us a significant accomplishment that they've had in their career. Can you tell me about a project or an accomplishment that has been significant in your career? What stands out? What's something that you absolutely loved or inspired you or inspired others?
The stamps.
It was a huge honor to get called upon by the Indian Chamber of Commerce to celebrate their 60th anniversary in Hong Kong. And we pitched for that business. They had an annual ball. So we got to do all of their design and all of their branding. And with that came the opportunity of a Hong Kong stamp to be released, which we then got the design rights to. So we were invited to design that stamp, which was, I think, one of the huge highlights, because this is a real currency stamp with a first day cover that was to be released. And these are the stamps that get security printed in France. So we had to really live up to design and resolution and quality and be able to work with the security press to make sure that that got done properly. It was really exciting because it's not, we already get excited when we see something in print that we put to print, but to see something like that of monetary value, of sort of a landmark governmental value in terms of international relations, that was pretty heartening, I think.
That's so impressive. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How do you manage the different roles in your life?
So I have a great support system. My husband has always encouraged me to be who I am, to encouraged me to go out there and run the business. My boys are also very supportive. They're now 14 and 16-year-old, but I was in business when they were much younger. They're very independent because of who I am. So that's very, very important. I also always at the back of my mind, I'm never going to be a happy person if I don't balance my life. So there are times when I work really late and I tell her that, it can't go on for too long. I have to go back. So I check and balance. Because it primarily doesn't make me happy if I'm just all about work or all about home. If I stay home too long, I'll drive everyone crazy as well. They're not used to it either. So it's a great mix. I have a great helper. I have great help. My husband, my kids are very supportive. And I myself, to keep myself happy, I need that work-life balance.
And you can prioritize.
I can prioritize. I keep in check.
And Neerja?
Ask me where I'm happiest. I'm happiest at work. But I'm happy when everything else is going well and gung-ho. So I make sure we put the tools in place. Everybody's briefed, as a working mother would do. We find little cheat sheets. So everyone is briefed in the morning, briefed at night. We've got WhatsApp rules. We've got, everything is firing all at once. And I'm really enjoying it because I think you don't have to wear one hat at one time. You have to wear several hats at one time. You just get used to it. You get better at it.
So you have children?
I have 2 boys. One's just off to university next Sunday. And then I have a little one. I will have empty nest syndrome soon. There you go. So yes, trying to keep it all balanced is really the key, as Deepa said.
So there was a couple of tips in that little bit for working mothers about checks and balances in the morning and the night, and briefing everyone on expectations for the next day, and having WhatsApp groups which keep everybody abreast of what's going on. Okay, so for our listeners out there, if you're not doing that and you're working, get on it. Sounds like a great tip.
Top tips.
Yes.
How do you serve our local community in Hong Kong? Obviously, the stamp you just talked about was one amazing way. The interns was another way. Are there other ways that you serve the local community?
Many ways, actually. So at our fairs, we cater to about 10 charity organizations to host their booths there, and whatever proceeds they make, it's for the charity of their choice. So we've always quoted at least 10 spaces for them. That's how we give back. I'm also sit as president of the Indian Businessmen's Association.
What's your role there? What do you do?
I chair. So we have a monthly luncheon. We meet up. We have a speaker there that speaks. And I'm the chairperson, so I conduct all these meetings. I conduct a social event, just basically head for the year.
She's being modest. She's president for the year.
Good for you. Yeah. Congratulations. That's
you.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I also sit on the board of a charity called Helping Hands. What we do is we help out children with cancer in India. So I've done about 4 events to raise funds for them.
So inspirational that you can be so focused, so busy with your family and your business, and then you're doing all this stuff for the local community as well.
To give back.
We try, like we said, we try to support, and I think we get so much that we try to give so much, and I just think that's kind of the way to go, because the only way to grow is to give. So we recently got the award from the Hong Kong government for a caring company. So a registered caring company, we had to go up and get our award. There was a nice highlight moment. We take on projects at our company level for non-profits. So we give preferential rates for non-profits, whatever we can help out with, whatever rates we can reduce, even for marketing. We're very much here to serve the people. I just recently got nominated onto the diversity list. So it's basically a platform for ethnic minorities to be able to serve the various governmental organizations in Hong Kong. And we're trying to expand that as well. That's by the Zubin Foundation. And we're going to put out a list every year. We hope that we can nominate many more ethnic minorities to actually have a say in governmental groups and just sort of guiding Hong Kong, because we find that we don't have true representation. And that's the goal for the diversity list.
You girls are high flyers. You have many strings to your bows.
We try.
I wasn't expecting to be so impressed and overwhelmed by all of the things that you've got going on. It's so impressive.
We try. We try. I've been a past president of my Rotary Club, of the India Club, and I sit on the Entrepreneurs Club board this year. So we try, you want to support entrepreneurs. You want to support the community initiatives. So we figure, why not?
I'm so inspired. I feel like I'm not doing enough.
We're going to put you on a couple of boards now.
Why not?
Sign me up. So if you could look back and give your younger self any advice, what would it be?
I would have said fight for your rights then, because I was a people pleaser, wanted everyone to be happy, and I kind of sacrificed my education when I was younger just to please the family tradition. And I wish I would fight harder then. I should have fought.
So do you feel if you did kick up and you did fight more and you did push, that maybe you would have been able to get more of an education?
Yes, definitely. Not that I haven't succeeded. I've gone really far, but I should have done it then.
Yeah.
Started a bit earlier.
Sure. And Neerja?
Advice for my younger self. Perhaps to be more resilient, to not look back, to keep going forward, to no matter what happens, just go. And again, that looking back, which I've learned over time, looking back or even looking at your competition means that you spend 2 minutes less on your business. So now we know we don't look back, we don't look sideways, we go straight forward, we're just out the gates.
Focus on the goal.
Absolutely.
Do you feel like you were lacking in resilience when you were younger and you're much more resilient now?
I think it grows. And
I do
you come
too.
to a point where you feel, yep, I have now enough in a pot to say, yes, resilience is coming or has come.
At what age did you have your first paying job?
14.
What was it?
I was renting out videotapes at a store. and I know I don't come from a very rich family, or we had financial issues. So at the age of 14, I was not sent out to work, but I had to work for my own pocket money. And so there was this store nearby my home, which was in those days renting out video cassettes. And I was always very vocal and very excited to work. So I went there and I told the owner that you have all these Indian movie cassettes and no one is renting them out. I'm going to get it all done. Just give me a job. And they did. And they paid me something like, it was 10 Sing dollars for 4 hours. And I called up everyone on the Indian database and I got them to come and rent out, and they were shocked. They rented out all the videos, and I was 14 only.
So you really showed some great business acumen even at that really young age. Yeah. That's so interesting. It's perhaps an innate talent. And Neerja, what about you?
I think I was doing a computer course in school when they said, oh, you've done really well, you've taught the class, so why don't you teach the next class? And that's when I thought, oh wow, you can actually add value and they pay you for it. And that's where sort of, the earn value came from, that you had to work, you put in your input, you will get rewarded.
A good message to get at a young age, isn't it?
Yes.
I think 13 or 14.
Do you think some of the young people today have it too easy and they get money too easily, so they don't have this desire to work or to succeed because they sort of don't have that will?
They don't value money because they got it too easy, you're right. So, as much as we've seen interns who exceed and excel, there are some that come in and they look at certain jobs as demeaning when nothing is demeaning. If you have to carry a little thing to another place, it doesn't make you any lesser than you are. A delivery person is as good as a boss. Every part of the job is of good value. But yes, because of the way they are brought up, because they've always had it easy, they think that they can get into anything that they don't have to do much for, and the money will just come in.
Yeah, there's a sense of entitlement, isn't there, that perhaps our generation may not have had, and this younger generation perhaps has.
Yes. Now, our generation in Singapore, teenagers used to work at McDonald's for part-time or deli fronts, and it was all good. It wasn't looked upon as demeaning, but this generation tends to have a problem with that, I feel.
I wish there were more opportunities, I think, given to them. It's also a millennial problem. It's also a single child syndrome, I think, because if, you've got everything you've got so far, you come into work and day one your boss says, no, this can't be done this way, this has to be done this way, you'll get full throttle back at you. And that's because they've never been said no to. So sometimes there's a fine line to getting everything as opposed to, I can't describe that fine line, but I think there has to be a balance where they then don't go out in the world and get hurt.
So in a way, this is a little bit of advice for parents or teachers that we need to say no to our children sometimes. We need to set boundaries, and they need to learn how to deal with disappointment at a young age so that they build their resilience.
For the right reasons, absolutely.
So can you tell me what are the benefits and the drawbacks of running your own business as opposed to working for someone else?
So when you work for someone, there's this big fat paycheck that automatically goes into your account no matter what you do, because your employer has to pay you for just appearing most of the time because it's a set salary, right? When you run your own business, you have to make the numbers meet. You have to pay salaries. So the pressure of sales is huge, for revenue is huge. So you're working 24/7. It's not about appearance, it's about performance at the end of the day. And the other thing is that everything in the office is your issue. Like I said, from the aircon breaking down to the computer breaking down. If you have a job, it becomes the employer's issue. And as an employee, you don't feel the pinch as such because it's not money out of your pockets. So there's a huge difference. On the other hand, there's flexibility and there's freedom because you are running a business. You can balance your life the way you want it. You call the shots. That's the way it should be because you take on so much other pressure as well.
Very good answer. I like that. Would you like to add to that, Neerja?
Tell you what I really miss is the corporate expense account.
The long lunches.
Yeah, you take a flight. If it's longer than 4 hours, you can take a business class flight. And we're going, what, really? And we look at each other and say, buddy, can we go business? That is not happening because every penny you save hits the bottom line and that makes better revenue. So, yes, you've got to be thrifty along the way. I also miss delegating upwards because I see in organizations when you hit a brick wall, as opposed to some people obviously they don't pivot, they don't turn a corner. They'll say, "Oh, now what? Let me go to my boss." Then it becomes the boss's problem. We don't have a boss.
Exactly. Yeah.
The advice there would be to be forward thinking, to be lateral and vertical thinking at the same time, and to just think, what is the next step? You can't get stuck. You just got to get it done.
And obviously you guys are super problem solvers.
It's a daily job.
Does living in Hong Kong make it any easier or more difficult to be a successful businesswoman?
Both. Easier because the government of Hong Kong makes it very easy for anyone to run a business. It's very simple. You go, you set up, you register, you can run a business. It's just so easy and smooth, the processes. In a lot of other countries, there's a lot of other work you need to do, a lot of money you have to pay, a lot of barriers, but in Hong Kong, it's super simple. What's difficult here is because the overheads are very high. To actually make ends meet in a business is very hard.
You mean like rent?
Rent is the worst. Labor is another one.
Okay.
Staffing is expensive. Salaries are expensive. So it's hard to run a business here because of the overheads, because of just, staffing.
Yeah, that makes complete sense.
Yeah.
I think Hong Kong is a great place because if you pay attention and sincerely work on your business as well as in your business, you can actually make money and you can actually make a difference in the world, as opposed to there are developing or third world countries that have to think in a crooked manner. So, there used to be sort of growing up, there was a black money, white money syndrome, and you would always have to be thinking about, so how do I bill these people this much amount legally and this much take in cash? But Hong Kong, with low rates of taxation, you don't even have to think about it because you're happy to pay the tax because the government serves you back. gives you good facilities, gives you good infrastructure. As Deepa said, $250 buys you a business registration certificate, and up you go. So I think this is a great platform.
It does make it seem like a really good place to run a business, and having the low tax is very, very handy as well, isn't it?
Definitely.
What advice would you give to anyone who's thinking about starting their own business?
To first do enough research to somewhat know that it's what the market requires, because the market is very saturated. It's firstly, be very sure what you're doing is going to be what is in demand. That's very important. Definitely tie up with people. I think Hong Kong thrives on networking. It's not about what you sell, it's about who you know. And get your numbers right. It's a numbers game at the end of the day. So ensure that your targets are set correctly and you know how much you're putting in and what you expect to get out of it. And ensure you tie up with, hire the right people. A great team is one of the most fundamentals to get anything right.
It's key, isn't it?
Of course. There's so many people who've got the right concept and the wrong team.
Those were all great points. Everything I think I scribbled, Deepa checked off. And I was thinking, how did that happen?
Was she looking at your notes?
But I think I'd add only one tiny thing to it, which is passion. If you haven't got the passion,
you always have to do a good one.
Cannot.
They're all good, Deepa. It's not a competition.
So if you can't get up every day and get out of bed and get in there and do it with passion every single day and not get dejected day after day, you've got to make the sales, you've got to do the marketing, you've got to do it all. But I think if passion kind of stitches every thread of that together, you've got it going on.
It really can lead to success, can't it? Passion and love for your job. Like if you love your job, you're so lucky. So can you tell me a little bit about some other facets of your business that you have?
So we have two other brands that we represent that we actually own. One is called the Hong Kong Resource Guide. It's an annual that we publish. It's a useful directory, it's a guide, and it's a reference that's got a shelf life of a year. In it, we have useful articles, tips and tricks, a guide to new Hong Kongers, even old Hong Kongers. But I think it's a tool that everybody, should have. We have an online edition as well. We get 90,000 views on the online edition. And we do hard copies as well at various distribution points. But I think it's a great avenue to express our writers' thoughts and opinions. And we do it in a way where it's educational for our readers.
So if somebody wants to get hold of this resource guide, how can they get it?
We've got an online, so it's Hong Kong Resource Guide, hkresourceguide.com. Plus, we have about 300 distribution points around Hong Kong. It's called the Hong Kong Resource Guide.
Awesome.
The other thing I want to mention is that we've just launched the littleindiadirectory.com. It's an online web portal for the community. We've just launched Hong Kong. We have a presence in Singapore, and we're soon launching Sydney and various other countries. It's basically the one-stop shop to reach the global Indian, not only for the Indian to reach the Indian, but for any community to know about anything Indian. And that's going to grow. That's going to be a media portal. It'll be a consolidation of events, listings, directory, giveaways, and articles that benefit the community.
On a global scale.
It will be global soon.
That's impressive.
Thank you.
If any of our listeners want to get in touch with you for any of your services, printmaking and publishing, design, marketing, web services, your community events, how can they get in touch with you?
They can log on to our website, which is www.plusgroup.com.hk. They can feel free to call us at our office. The number is 2333-4421. And we'll be happy to speak to them about all their requirements. We also have a Facebook page that has all our details, and it's called Plus Group International Hong Kong Limited.
Can you please share an inspirational quote with me? Do you have one? Like, warrior am I, and from the battle I emerge triumphant.
Well, that's
You've got a great one. Can you say that again?
Warrior am I, and from the battle I emerge triumphant.
Excellent. That's beautiful.
I love that.
Thanks.
Is really beautiful.
I love that.
I don't have any in particular, but I like the ones that go along the lines of I'm too blessed to be stressed. I remind myself every day.
That's great. I love that.
Yeah, and there's so many stressful...
In fact, that is great. I really love that. That really speaks to me. Thank you.
Have you
got one?
I'm going to give you a little card that says that. My WhatsApp status says, I asked God to give me happiness. God said, no, I give you blessings. Happiness is up to you.
So true. Happiness is up to us and it's within us. And nothing else outside of us can give us happiness. And I think that's what many young people today need to learn.
Absolutely.
So what is your spirit animal and why?
It's the dragon, born in the year of the dragon. I like the mystic side of it because it's mysterious. And I also like the powerful side of it and yet the elegance.
Oh, that's lovely. Oh, my gosh.
Nice. So I'm born in the year of the ox, but that has a negative connotation to me. The ox works really hard, and I believe we need to work smarter, not harder.
Ooh, there's another quote.
Ta-da! No, I go with the eagle. I like to look at everything. If you look at something from ground level, it's going to look different. If you soar up to 10,000 feet, that's going to look different. If you take that one up to 20,000 feet, you don't have a problem.
Brilliant. You girls are full of wisdom. I love this. This is awesome. My final question for this podcast is, if you had a superpower, what would it be?
Love.
Oh.
That's a superpower.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's love.
That's beautiful.
It's you wanting to do more, achieve more, keeps you going.
That's so gorgeous.
Thank you.
I cannot beat that.
No, you can. Come on.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay, you said it's not a competition.
But can you try and beat that anyway?
So I say brave. I think you've got to be brave when you want to say stuff, do stuff. Even in a room full of people, go up and meet someone you don't know. If you lose that opportunity, if I could have one thing tattooed across my sort of wrist, I'd say be brave, because you only get to live once. You just got to take that opportunity.
Awesome. Deepa and Neerja, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your passion, your advice with me and my listeners. I've really, really enjoyed this podcast, and it's been a huge pleasure meeting you both. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you for having us.
You're so welcome.
We want to wish Hong Kong Confidential all the very best. We have already just right now subscribed. We're going to go out and blast you out on every social media platform that we know, because I think the work that you're doing is precious, much needed. So we wish you all the very best. Be brave. Go out there and get it going.
Thank you, girls. I'm going to get on it, and I really appreciate all your support. And this has just been so inspirational. Thanks a lot.
It's been fun.
So that brings us to the end of another Hong Kong Confidential podcast. I'm Jules Hannaford. Thanks for joining me, and I hope you'll be with me again next week. If you enjoyed today's podcast, please can you go to iTunes to rate and review it. I would really appreciate your feedback. You can email me at jules@hongkongconfidential.net, and you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Hong Kong Confidential. If you'd like to hit me up on Twitter, it's at Jules Hannaford. I would love to hear from you.